Hey, never thought I'd be the type to post something like this online, especially to complete strangers, but here I am. My wife, Rachel, and I have been together for 10 years, married for 8. We met in college and were each other's first everything. I always thought that made our relationship rare, something truly special. But now, I'm starting to think that was just my version of the story. Not too long ago, Rachel landed a new job. She struggled at first. She's always been a bit shy, kinda introverted. I actually encouraged her to open up, to try making friends. Eventually, she did, mostly with a group of girls from her office. At first, I was happy for her. Really. But then she started going out more, drinks after work, weekend parties, and I began to notice some changes. I brought it up once, gently, just to say I was a little worried. But I didn't want to come off as controlling, so I backed off. Still, things started shifting at home, especially in the bedroom. Rachel's always been kind of passive when it comes to intimacy, but now she was either too tired or just not interested. Then came this new manager at her company. Rachel mentioned him a few times, how cool he was, how well he handled personal stuff for the team. I asked her about him, just casually, but she brushed it off like I was being paranoid. Then one night, out of nowhere, she asked if I ever regretted not having more experience with other women. I said no. I told her she was all I ever needed. And I meant it. I thought I saw a flicker of sadness in her eyes after that, but she changed the subject so fast I didn't push it. And then, she brought up the idea of an open marriage. Said maybe it'd spice things up. That hit me like a truck. Rachel had never, ever been the type to suggest something like that. I asked her straight up if this had anything to do with the new manager, but she denied it. Said she just felt like she missed out, but didn't want to lose me. I told her it was a dangerous road. But still, maybe out of love, maybe out of fear, I agreed. We set rules. The main one? No sleeping with anyone in our home. Over the next year, Rachel started going on dates. Had one-night stands. And at some point, she got into a full-on relationship with that manager. Me? I tried. I went on a few dates, but the hookups just felt wrong. I couldn't go through with it. It felt like cheating, even though technically it wasn't. Rachel would check in sometimes, ask if I was okay. But deep down, I didn't want her to stop. I think I just didn't want to be the one to cage her in. But as time went on, I could feel my love for her slipping away. Bit by bit. And it was wrecking me from the inside out. Then I met someone. Her name's Hannah. She's from South Korea, and our connection was instant. Easy conversation, wicked sense of humor, and a smile that stayed with me long after we said goodbye. One date turned into 2, then more. Before long, we were exclusive. Faithful. And for the first time in my life, I felt what real emotional and physical closeness could be. Hannah made me feel wanted, admired, like a man. Rachel thought it was cute, at first. But as the months rolled on, she started asking questions, about Hannah, about us. I reminded her, this whole thing was her idea. And even though she had her own relationship going on with her boss, I could see something in her had shifted. She didn't say it outright, but I could tell. Then she changed. Rachel started coming home early. Cooking dinner, cleaning the house top to bottom, even showing up at my job with lunch. She began initiating intimacy again, something she hadn't done in years. If she'd done all this before the open marriage talk, I'd have been thrilled. But now, it just felt forced. Like a performance. I went along with it a few times, but I'll be honest, it felt hollow. I was just going through the motions. Whatever I used to feel for her, it was fading fast. And she knew it. I asked her one night why the sudden change. She said she wanted to show me love and happiness. I couldn't help it, I laughed. Not out of cruelty. It just hit me how absurd it all was. I asked her, what about your friends? The manager? The one-night stands? She didn't say a word. Just went to bed in tears. The next day, when I got home, She was waiting for me. She admitted it. The open marriage idea was a terrible mistake. Said she regretted it all and wanted to focus on us again. I told her to just be real with me. Tell me where it all started. Turns out, it was her friends. They planted the seed, always talking about their wild sex lives. Then the manager came along, encouraging that lifestyle even more. Told her to live freely. Their connection didn't turn physical until after we opened the marriage, she claimed. She described the experience like being a drunk driver on the freeway, fast, thrilling, and reckless. Now the crash had come, and she couldn't live with it. She said she didn't need a comparison to realize what we had was rare, special, and now probably gone. When I told her I might never see her as my wife again, she crumpled. Just collapsed into me, sobbing. I held her while she cried herself to sleep in my arms on the couch. Since then, she's quit her job, cut off all contact with her friends, ended things with the manager. She's told me, more than once, that she's willing to spend the rest of her life making this right, trying to be seen as my wife again. But I haven't cut things off with Hannah. To be honest, she makes me feel like a man again, like I could take on the world. That's something Rachel hasn't done for me in a long time. And now I'm stuck. Torn. I'd love to get back that magic we once had, but the truth is, Hannah pulled me out of a really dark place. She made me feel seen, alive. And I don't know how to just walk away from that. We've got our first marriage counseling session in a couple of hours. I have no idea how it's going to go, but I'll update once we've had it. In the meantime, I'll answer a few things that come up. First, no, Hannah isn't married. She's in an open marriage herself. She and her husband have had that arrangement for a while, and from what she's told me, it works for them. That's her world, and I don't judge it. I guess it made what we shared feel less complicated. Second, my intentions with this marriage? Still foggy. I love Rachel, I do. But trusting her again? That's where I stumble. I can't just erase the history we've built, but I also can't keep ignoring how broken things feel. That's why I agreed to therapy, because I need to stop spinning in circles and figure out whether this is salvageable, or if I'm just clinging to a ghost. Third, I didn't ask to see Rachel's phone. Not once. I couldn't bring myself to. The thought of seeing photos, of reading messages, it would have crushed me. The mental pictures were already eating me alive. Seeing it in black and white? I don't think I could have handled that. This morning, something unexpected happened. I stepped out of the shower to find my mom in the hallway, holding my phone. She looked shaken. Her hands trembled as she stared at the screen. I took the phone from her without a word. It was a text from Hannah. Good morning, handsome. I slept in your t-shirt last night because I miss being in your arms. Miss waking up next to you. Miss starting the day with a kiss from you. That was all it said. But it was enough. I think Rachel saw it, or maybe she sensed something, because she's been tailing me ever since, followed me for 2 hours this morning, even during my jog. She hasn't said anything. Just watching. Like she's scared of what she already knows. The night I met Hannah, Rachel had been out on one of her dates. I was walking home from a bookstore when I saw this short, stocky guy screaming at a woman outside a cafe. He grabbed her wrist and yanked her around hard. Before I even thought about it, I stepped in. I practice judo. I'm no master, but I managed to restrain the guy, and in the process, accidentally dislocated his wrist. Turned out he was an ex of hers. She'd gotten him fired from his job for harassment, and he hadn't taken it well. Hannah insisted on buying me a coffee as a thank you. One coffee turned into conversation. Conversation turned into connection. And just like that, I wasn't alone anymore. At first, Hannah was hesitant. She said she didn't want to be a homewrecker. But once I laid it all out, told her the truth about Rachel, the open marriage, the other man, she decided to take a leap. Now, about the therapy session. The counselor was warm, professional, didn't take sides. She created a space where both of us could speak freely. And Rachel, she really opened up. She admitted that her friend group had made her doubt herself, doubt her choices. They made her feel like she was missing out because she'd married her first boyfriend and never experienced anyone else. These so-called friends, most of them divorced, glamorized their freedom, like it was something enviable. Rachel said the new manager, his name's Aaron, he started showing interest, and her friends pushed her to go for it. Said it was a way to find herself. She felt guilty, she said, which is why she held off physically, at first. Then a divorced friend pitched the idea of an open marriage, told her it was a loophole, and that some couples even come out stronger. That's when her adventure began. She described it as thrilling, even addictive. But shallow. Meaningless. Nothing like what we built together. At first, she convinced herself it was harmless fun, something she deserved. She admitted she saw the hurt in my eyes but buried it, believing it was just part of the deal. But everything changed when I met Hannah. She said I started smiling again. Started lighting up when my phone buzzed. Said it made her stomach drop. Gave her anxiety. Panic attacks. Her friends told her it was normal, part of the process. But then the same divorced friend, the one who started all this, told her his lover makes him happy. That hit Rachel like a freight train. The idea that another woman, not his wife, could bring a man real happiness. That's when it finally sank in. That this was real. That she could lose me. That she might already have. She begged her friends for advice. Asked how to fix it. But all they said was, "If you couldn't handle the outcome, why did you open the marriage?" That's when she saw it. They weren't friends. They were poison. And the only thing they were good at was ruining other people's lives. Now Rachel's trying to undo the damage. Cut them all off. Quit her job. Let go of Aaron. And now she's all in, doing whatever it takes to win me back. But I don't know if I can come back. Because while she was chasing freedom, I found something real. And I don't know if I'm ready to give that up. During our second counseling session, I didn't talk much about my side, but I did tell the therapist that I was still seeing Hannah. Her response was direct. No resolution would ever be possible while another relationship was still in the picture. She suggested we schedule another appointment for the day after tomorrow. She also mentioned that it's rare for someone to stay with their first love this long, but added that any storm, no matter how intense, can be weathered with the right work. I wish I could say that was the end of it. But things quickly spiraled into full-blown Jerry Springer territory. I moved out. I'm staying at my brother's place now. He's letting me crash for next to nothing. And in the days since, I've uncovered more about Rachel's choices, and even more unsettling stuff about her manager, Aaron. During that second therapy session, I asked Rachel one of the questions a Redditor suggested. Was she absolutely sure nothing physical happened between her and Aaron before we opened the marriage? She wouldn't meet my eyes. She begged me not to make her say it, said it would destroy whatever was left between us. After a long pause, she finally admitted it. It wasn't technically physical, at least not in the traditional sense. But they had touched themselves in front of each other. Her voice cracked when she said it. She was shaking, hyperventilating, crying with snot and everything. The therapist looked stunned. Rachel dropped to her knees, grabbed onto my legs, sobbing apologies over and over again. I asked her what finally opened her eyes about Aaron, what made her see him for what he really was. She said everything changed after she cut ties with her toxic friend group. One night, she overheard Aaron talking to another male coworker. He was bragging about how easy it was to get her. Called her proof you can't trust the quiet ones. When the guy asked if Aaron actually liked her, he laughed and said she was just a distraction. He never had plans to leave his fiancée. About me? He said. He snoozed, he lost. Hearing that, realizing she was just some conquest to him, shattered her. She said the betrayal, on top of everything she'd done to me, made her physically ill. She threw up, left work early, and came home begging for forgiveness. I asked her point blank, "Did you love him?" She said yes. But she swore she never stopped loving me either. She talked about starting fresh, just the two of us. Rebuilding. But I told her it wouldn't be fair to Hannah. That I needed space. Time. That's when she had a full meltdown. Collapsed into sobs, saying things I couldn't even make out, clinging to me like I might disappear if she let go. It took both me and the therapist a while to calm her down. Eventually, the therapist suggested we take some time apart, to process, to heal. I agreed. But it didn't end there. That same evening, while I was packing up, Rachel's laptop lit up with a video call. It was one of her former friends crying. Turns out, after Rachel quit, this friend started hooking up with Aaron. Then she had a pregnancy scare. That's when Aaron flipped. Turned cold. Cruel. Said she was babysitting him and basically cut her off. She had a boyfriend, someone she actually saw a future with. The affair was just curiosity, or so she claimed. But when the boyfriend discovered an email thread about the pregnancy, he walked. She called Rachel thinking she'd salvaged our marriage and could give advice. I didn't say a word. Just walked out and haven't been back since. It's been a lot. More has happened while I try to piece together what the hell I want for the future. Turns out the friend was, in fact, pregnant. But the stress, losing her boyfriend, the humiliation, led to a miscarriage. She snapped. Blew the whistle. Reported Aaron to HR, upper management, even his fiancée. Out of curiosity, I found his fiancée's Facebook profile. She's the exact opposite of him. Small-town sweetheart. Special ed teacher. All family and values and home-cooked meals. My first thought was, why does a guy like Aaron end up with a woman like that? One of life's mysteries, I guess. The friend reached out to me, asked if I'd be willing to share my side of the story for her complaint. I agreed. When we met up, she looked wrecked, dark circles, red eyes, like she hadn't slept in days. She thanked me for coming. Apologized for her role in Rachel's spiral. She told me she and Rachel had talked recently, and that's how she found out I'd moved out. She didn't make excuses. Said losing a child and the man she loved had changed her. That she couldn't even look at herself in the mirror now. It felt like our meeting was her way of punishing herself. Like she needed someone to hate her as much as she hated herself. She said Aaron was probably going to be fired. Maybe even blacklisted. And if that happened, she'd go down with him. And she was okay with that. We said goodbye after that. I told her I was sorry for her loss. And that was that. Now I've got to go back to the house. I need to pick up a few more things. I went back to the house, our old place, thinking Rachel wouldn't be home. But she was. I found her in the living room, sitting in the middle of a sea of our wedding photos, looking completely wrecked. When she saw me, her face lit up with hope. She tried to hug me, offered to make lunch, but I gently pulled back. I told her I just came to grab a few things and then I'd be on my way. That's when she showed me a message on her phone, from Aaron, her ex-manager. He was furious. Apparently, Rachel had helped her friend report him to the higher-ups, and he wasn't taking it well. She said she got the idea from sites like Chump Lady and Marriage Builders, that exposing the secret could rob it of power and maybe give us a chance at rebuilding. I told her I respected her courage, that I appreciated what she did, but it didn't change anything for me. Then I dropped another bomb. I was ending marriage counseling and starting individual therapy instead. She broke down crying. I think she expected me to either scream or beg or something, but I felt nothing. Just numb. And that scared me. That absence of emotion? I knew I had to bring it up with my new counselor. Later that week, on my brother's advice, I met with a divorce lawyer, just in case. I'm not rushing to end things, but I'm also not fighting for our marriage right now. And Rachel feels it. She tried to get close again one night, kissed me, touched my arm, and I just said no. She snapped, asked how I could still be so distant after everything. I told her if she still didn't understand the damage that had been done, then maybe there was no saving this. That's where I stand. At least for now. Let me shift gears a bit and tell you about someone else, Lauren. My wife of nearly 25 years. Our silver anniversary is next week. That afternoon, I stood in the grand lobby of the Radisson Hotel in downtown Philly with our two sons, Bradley and Terry. We'd planned this Wednesday for weeks. It was supposed to be just another date night. But it turned out to be something else entirely. Lauren and I married young. Had our boys young. They're both in college now, Temple University, on scholarships. We live in Reading, so heading downtown isn't something we do often. I'd never even been to a Radisson before. I work in the legal department of an accounting firm, and every Wednesday I have a standing meeting with a retirement care contractor in Harrisburg. I've never once canceled it. Maybe that's why Lauren chose Wednesdays for her trips to the city. About 2 months ago, I started getting suspicious. Little things added up. I hired the company's private investigator. He works contract gigs for us, and asked him to look into it. He didn't take long. Turns out, every Wednesday, Lauren was making the 2-hour drive to downtown Philly to meet up with Kyle, an old family friend and former coworker. They'd meet at the Radisson. Here's how it played out every time. Lauren would wait in the hotel's gift shop. Kyle would show up, get a room, stop by the payphone, slip an envelope with the room key underneath it, and take the elevator to the 8th floor. A few minutes later, Lauren would grab the envelope and follow him up. They'd stay there for about 3 hours. Then part ways like nothing happened. Kyle used to come to work parties with his wife, Beth. We all used to hang out. A few weeks ago, Bradley and Terry spotted Kyle at a job fair. That's when everything came crashing down. They told me what they saw. "Dad, if you knew what was going on, why didn't you do anything?" I told them the truth. I'd only recently found out. I didn't know what to do. I still loved their mother. The thought of life without her terrified me. Bradley had an idea, one that sounded extreme, but I had my own plan. I called Beth. We met 2 days later. She already had her suspicions. Apparently, this wasn't Kyle's first offense. He'd been caught before and had promised he'd change. With the proof I gave her, she was ready to file for divorce. She just asked me to hold off on doing anything until she was ready. Which brings me back to today. Lauren walked into the Radisson lobby right on schedule. She looked stunning, too stunning for a casual afternoon. She was clearly dressed to impress. That stung more than I expected. "Hi, guys. Were you waiting for me?" she asked with a nervous smile. Beth quietly approached me. "She's here. She's in the gift shop. If he's on schedule, Kyle should be here any minute." Lauren pretended to browse magazines, her eyes flicking toward the lobby every few seconds. Then Kyle walked in. Lauren lit up. Her whole face changed. She watched him as he went to the counter, picked up a key card, then slid the envelope under the payphone and stepped into the elevator. The moment those doors shut, it was go time. Terry walked into the gift shop and greeted his mom with a big smile, putting his arm around her waist to gently redirect her view away from the lobby. Meanwhile, Beth walked over to the payphone, snatched up the envelope, and made her way to the 8th floor. Kyle, as usual, would be in the shower before the main event. Beth planned to wait in the hallway until she heard water running, just enough confirmation. At that same time, Bradley and I approached Terry and Lauren slowly, keeping my tone light. "What a great surprise. Fancy meeting you here, Lauren. Why don't you come join me and the boys for lunch?" She blinked, caught completely off guard. "John, why are you here? I thought you had your meeting in Harrisburg today." "It got cancelled," I said casually. "Figured I'd grab lunch with the boys. I tried calling you, but you weren't home. And now I can see why." She hesitated. I'm meeting Mara Phillips here. For lunch. You remember Mara, right? We went to elementary school together." I saw the boys glance at each other and smirk. They knew how weak that excuse was. "No problem," I said smoothly. "We'll make a reservation for 5. She can join us." Lauren looked like a deer in headlights, but she had no choice. She walked with us toward the restaurant, reluctantly. Before sitting down, she pulled out her phone. I should probably call Mara and let her know plans have changed. Put the phone away, honey, I said gently. The place isn't that big. I'm sure she'll find us just fine. Truth was, I didn't want her calling Kyle. Beth had things under control. Lauren sat down, clearly flustered. The boys were uncharacteristically quiet, respectful even, but she didn't seem to notice. She placed her phone next to the silverware, instead of keeping it in her purse like she usually did. We all sat in silence as the waiter took our drink orders. I watched the boys suppressing their amusement as Lauren stumbled to keep her story together. Are we waiting for Mara to order, or should we go ahead? I asked, raising an eyebrow. She's not sure she can make it, Lauren mumbled. If she doesn't, I thought I'd just walk around and maybe do a little shopping. One lie stacked on top of another. I felt bad for her. But I also knew she brought this on herself. When the drinks came, we ordered. Lauren only asked for a fruit salad. 15 minutes later, Beth walked over to our table, carrying all of Kyle's clothes. Shoes and all. Hey, Beth. How'd it go? She gave a wry smile. It went really well, actually. Thanks, John. My loving husband was in the shower, just like always. Didn't even hear me come in. I left the divorce papers on the dresser, and decided to grab his stuff on the way out. Lauren turned white. Her mouth dropped open. Her eyes started to cloud over, panic, guilt, all of it written across her face. Beth placed the room key on the table, right next to Lauren's phone. Thanks for lending me the key, Lauren, she said with ice in her voice. I won't be needing it anymore. Lauren stared at it like it was radioactive. Her phone buzzed. She picked it up, looked at the caller ID, then turned it off without answering. Slid it back onto the table. Beth turned to the boys with a smile. The Corvette's all yours for the week, boys. It's in my name, so don't worry about it. Thanks for helping out, but I gotta run. Enjoy your meal. And with that, she was gone. Lauren looked at me like she was silently begging for help. But I didn't offer anything. I just sat there. The waiter brought the food. She muttered something about needing to use the restroom, and never came back. Terry checked the ladies' room. Bradley checked the hotel's 8th floor where Kyle had booked the room. Nothing. She'd left everything, her phone, her purse, even her ID, right there on the table. Hotel security was helpful, but there wasn't much they could do. One camera showed her walking into the kitchen. After that? Nothing. No exit footage. No sign she'd even left the building. We eventually filed an incident report with the Philly police. Since nothing illegal had occurred, it wasn't considered a missing person case, yet. But we waited. For hours. And then we went home. She wasn't there either. It's been 2 years since that strange lunch at the Radisson. Terry's now a lieutenant in the Air Force. Bradley's out in California, finishing up grad school. They're doing well. Better than I ever expected, considering everything they saw that day. Beth divorced Kyle. We never saw Lauren again. Not once. No calls. No letters. Nothing. I eventually filed a missing persons report after the waiting period ended. The police never found anything. No leads. No sightings. It's like she vanished. Legally, I'm still married. At some point I'll have to deal with that. But I haven't yet. The house is quiet now. All her clothes are still here. Her shoes. Her books. Even her toothbrush. Like she just stepped out for groceries and forgot to come back. Some nights, I catch myself wondering, was that lunch at the Radisson the right move? Did I go too far? Did we push too hard? Other nights, I tell myself she made her choices. And I made mine. Still, I'm left with this silence. And this house. And a question I'll probably never answer. Was it worth it?